All right, so for today's assignment, there's a couple things that you want to know. First, you'll notice in a lot of previous assignments, when I wanted to give you little bits of information, I'd write my notes, but sometimes those notes would have little arrows attached to them pointing to things. So in CAD, those are called multileaders, and you'll be creating a bunch of those today. And then secondly, we've also played a lot with various different snap points in CAD. Most common ones being like endpoint, midpoint, center of a circle, things like that. So we're actually going to officially go through the entire list and demonstrate what each of those means. So I'm going to start off. I'm just going to start off by putting a line on my thing here. So you have a nice simple line. And then I first want to show what an endpoint is. So again, just to kind of go through what that list is, when we go to our object snap here, we have all these different types of snaps. So I'm first going to point to what a endpoint is. So I'm going to draw a multileader, and there's a few different ways of doing that. One way is to go to draw. No, I take it back. It's actually under Dimension, Multileader. I can click on that, click on where I want my arrow to point. So I want to point right here at my endpoint. And then I'm going to write endpoint. Like so. Zoom in here a little bit. Now, I'm going to do another one here for my midpoint. So I'm going to go another multileader. So mleader is the command for multileader. Mleader. And then I'm going to move my cursor here along my line until I get my midpoint, which is a triangle. And we'll label this midpoint. And let's see. So we've done endpoint, midpoint. Next one, I'll show the center, which would be a center of a circle. So I'll go C for center, or for circle, and then multileader, and then snap to the center of that. Now, just as with dimensions, as we have documents that are different sizes, sometimes we need to change the sizes of our multileaders. So let's say for this assignment, I'm going to have to draw quite a few different types of lines. So because of that, maybe I want to make my multileaders a little bit larger. So the command for that is mleader style. So just like dim style or text style, just regular style, we have a multileader style. So mleader style gets you into our multileader style manager, and then just like we did with our other types of styles, we can click on the style that we want to modify, click on modify, and this isn't as yeah, I don't know if I can just change this. Yeah, look at that. So I just hit a different scale here. I don't know why that doesn't have an arrow. It's too close. There we go. So I just did an overall scale, a factor of 3, which made all my multileaders 3 times larger. So again, mleader style, and you could create multiple styles if you needed to, or we can just modify our style. And there's just 3 tabs here. to talk about the different settings. If you wanted to change your font, you would create a different text style. We did that in an assignment where we did different fonts, so you could create different text styles. And these other ones just kind of talk about where text is positioned, how it's positioned, size 0, things like that. So typical CAD fashion, there's 1,000 different settings.
Can you do Node?
For something kind of special. Yeah. We'll go through the whole list here. So next is node, which a node is just a point. So I've drawn a point, and then that is a node. And then quadrant, so I'm just going to add to the circle that I already have. And I'll just pick any of my quadrants here. Turn on my snap. So you'll notice if you draw your text for your multileader and it shows up, if you sort of angle it to the left, it shows up on the left. You angle it to the right, it shows up on the right. And to the left, we have it set to where it draws your text on top of the line, whereas to the right, it then kind of centers it. So again, these are just different settings you can go through in your dim style, multileader style rather, and change things around that way. So we make quadrants. We have our 4 quadrants on a circle, but we only need to label 1. Then next is intersection. So I'll use the line we already have and just create an intersection. Next we have extension. So I'm going to add a line onto here, but you'll notice as we go to our endpoint, if I were to draw along the same path as if my line were to be extended, I can click here and draw an extension. So I used the extension tool to draw this line off of that. And let's see. Next, I don't have you do insertion. That one's pretty rare, but I will do perpendicular. So perpendicular will go So I'm just drawing a line and then moving it until I get my perpendicular symbol. And then the old tangent, and remember tangent tends to work best if you clear everything and just have tangent selected. So I'm going to do that and then just draw a little line off my circle there. then we have nearest, which nearest is basically any point at all. So I can snap, and you notice you get kind of looks like a little hourglass. So if you click virtually on any line that isn't a midpoint or endpoint, midpoint, any other known thing, the default will then just be nearest. So even on circles, you'll notice we get the hourglass on there. So I'm just going to snap right to here. And let's see. Let's see. We're also going to skip a parent intersection. That's very similar to intersection. Then the last one is parallel. And what that'll do is you can actually snap to parallel lines. So like I kind of have this line here that's parallel. So this one I'm going to kind of do the same as we did with our tangent, where I'm going to unselect everything except for parallel. And you'll notice you kind of sometimes have to hover your mouse a little bit over your line that you want to make parallel with. And then by doing that, I get this kind of dotted line here, similar to what we got when we did our extension snap. And I will click on that, and then sure enough, these lines are parallel. So that is pretty much everything for today's assignment.